Because I didn't consent to having a hookup. I didn't consent to having a one-night stand. I consented to us building something.
I don't think the way men date lacks consent. I think the way men are lacks consent. They hate consent. The only thing I disagree with the OP on is I don't think men are lying and leading women on because that's the only way they can get what they want. It would actually be easier for women to give them what they want in a different context because, as she said, women are open and honest. There are plenty of women announcing to the world all they want is a hookup. All they want is a casual thing. Men don't want those women. And it's not because, as people have said, they have a bad reputation or they're loose or they're easy or whatever. Think about the word easy as men apply it to women who they feel have a lot of experience. It's too easy for them to get into physical communion with those women. If all you want is a physical conquest, which men repeatedly say, how is it too easy? And it's not because they want a challenge. It's because they want to extort something from someone. It's because they want to do mental harm. As I've told you all repeatedly, they get off on taking something that wasn't offered. I refer back to Samantha Jones on Sex and the City. Samantha Jones was eager to hook up casually. She couldn't wait to physically get it on. So what did Richard Wright want to extort from her? Not her body, because she was offering that up willingly. He wanted to extort her feelings, her soul. He wanted to awaken her love without ever really wanting to return it, because he wanted what was not on offer. He kept begging for romance. She kept saying, no, I'm not interested in romance. He promised, I'm different, trust me, love me. And the minute she let her guard down, he wanted to play with her. Oh, well, I love you, but I don't want to be exclusive. What the hell kind of love is that? Oh, I love you, but I want you to arrange a you-know-what sum for my birthday. He loves you so much, he wants you to look at him in you-know-where with another woman? I'll be glad when this app gets off my back and I can talk regularly again. But it's not love. It is just control. It's just manipulation. They want whatever you don't offer. If you offer up your body, they want your feelings. If you offer up your heart, they want your body. They are just contrary and, may I say, evil. And it's psychotic. It's not normal to be like that. They have grapey personalities. This is what is meant by grape culture. They constantly want what is not theirs to take, what has not been offered, what has not been consented to. That is psychotic. It is sick. And we will discuss it more another time. The single best thing to happen to women in terms of dating has been social media. Because when we make videos like this, you can see their reaction in real time. So I want to talk about the subject matter, but I want to talk first about the reaction in her comments. Because, of course, the men are already there. Oh, what kind of men are you dating? Oh, with a full apology. I'm sorry you dated men who hurt you. Men need to make up their mind which lie they're going to go with. Because when a woman says men lie to get in your pants, they do this and they do the third, they're like, oh, just the ones you're choosing. All men aren't like that. There are good men out there. But if a woman ever says, I trusted a man, I took him at his word, and then he hurt me, men blame the woman. Well, what do you expect? Of course he was just lying to get in your pants. Are men liars or not? Please tell me. And the answer is, of course they are. Because when these same men have daughters, they run to tell them, don't listen to anything men say, make him prove everything, don't sleep with him until marriage, because up until that point, he's just lying to get what he can. And now I can talk about the content of her video, which is, I do believe that this is rape by deception. If you consent on certain terms, i.e., he says you are now in a committed relationship, he says you all are exclusive, whatever the thing may be, but later he is exposed as lying and violating the terms under which you consented, that is absolutely rape by deception. And honestly, we need to start bringing civil suits. The same way stealthing only became a crime after enough women bothered the courts about it and said, hey, I consented to sex. I did not consent to unprotected sex. I didn't consent to the risk of disease or pregnancy. He took away my consent, and then it became a prosecutable crime. This needs to be a crime. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still all about self-protection in the meantime. I don't think we should ever take a day off from believing that men are lying liars, because they are. And you should believe that nothing he says is true until he proves it several times over. And you have to resort to these extremes, because if you get hurt, if you get a disease, if you get abandoned with a child, if anything happens to you, the world as a whole is going to blame you. But whether or not you get sympathy, you're still going to have to bear the consequences of whatever his lie was. So always believe that men are lying. It's a form of self-protection. And if men are so mad about that, they can do the legwork of holding their fellow men accountable. You don't want us distrusting you? Oh, don't blame me for what the last guy did. Make men as a whole tell the truth. Make consequences for them. Otherwise, these are the consequences. And it's not a punishment. It is simply a case of reaping and sowing. There has been no social punishment as a whole for men who lie to women. Consequently, women must believe now men are lying automatically to protect themselves from financial, physical, and other consequences. It's just natural. So this whole conversation around Black women getting the Whoville nose is really aggravating me. Y'all get on here talking about some, oh, she was so beautiful before, her nose was great, her nose was. The only reason these women are seeking out these honestly white noses is because you all have made fun of them for their Black noses. But I hate the hypocrisy in the discourse when you're trying to meet the Black beauty standard, like when you get a BBL versus when you go the other way and you're conforming to what people might think is a more Eurocentric beauty standard. First of all, that's stupid. When people are like, oh, the tilted nose is white, every genetic variation in the sun comes from Africa. That's the most asinine argument. There are people on the African continent who have that nose. But that part's not important. I am sick and tired of Black people, particularly Black men, telling Black women how hideous their features are night and frickin' day, and then being shocked when the women do something extreme to them. If the beauty standard Black men praised was looking Black, that's what would be popular. But it's a red herring. They pretend to complain about wigs and weaves and contour and this and that, but every song they rap about is praising the long-haired, light-skinned, the yellow bone, the red bone, the exotical. So you want girls who look like that just naturally. You want the Black beauty standard to be as little looking Afrocentric as possible. And you want the ability to create this fake ass discourse where you get to punish women for meeting that standard artificially. Because what you really want is the ability to be with women who are not Black or who are only partially Black, and then say, well, that's just my preference. I just like these features. And if actual Black women can buy those features, you no longer have an excuse. Your self-hatred gets exposed. So you're like, oh my God, you were so beautiful before. You don't fucking think that. Otherwise, you would have been with women like that before. But the Black community as a whole gets on my nerves with this stupid ass discourse. Dating and everything aside, they want to act so surprised. Oh, Lil' Kim was so beautiful before. Yeah, she was beautiful before, and she got her first plastic surgery because of DV, because a Black man broke her face. So if instead of talking all the time, you actually protected Black women and girls, they wouldn't be traumatized and they wouldn't go to these extreme measures. They wouldn't need reconstructive surgery, and then they wouldn't get body dysmorphia and keep on hacking away at themselves. And it's always retrospective. It's always after the person has done whatever amount of surgeries, you say, oh, they were so beautiful before. The reason they felt ugly to begin with is because you never praised their beauty when they looked dark-skinned, when they had a wider nose, when they had natural hair. You never praised them then. It's always in retrospect. Because you just want to talk. They look Black. You tell them that they're too Black, they're too Afrocentric, they're too this, they're too that, and you like the long-haired yellow bones. They get augmentation. Oh, you looked better before. Shut up. Because who had the most to say negatively when Lupita Nyong'o was elected most beautiful by People magazine? It was Black men. Gilbert Arenas. Oh, she's not really beautiful. When she became the spokesperson for Lancome, Kodak Black literally called her a man. And I'm glad she has the sense not to listen to the demographics. But why do other Black women think that they're somehow deficient? It's because of Black men. Don't play blind man's bluff now. It is you. Everyone can see you. Everyone in the world sees how every woman you uplift looks nothing like the majority of Black women. Because Blackness is associated with what? Melanation. So they always find the most lightly melanated or unmelanated woman they can, with straight hair, light eyes, and none of the features that define or accord with melanation, and uplift her as a Black queen. Stop it. You are embarrassing yourselves. And then when you get called on it, it's, oh, well, you should love yourself. And when little Black girls like that one who was on all the talk shows and whatnot go viral for saying that they think that they're ugly because that's the message they've been fed by every Black man around them and Black boy, y'all want to try to gaslight them. Why do you think you're ugly? Because every music, video, TV show, movie is reflecting the opposite of her experience. Aside from the 2 Black Panther movies, which were made about 2 seconds ago, Can you name me a black movie where the lead woman is darker than a paper bag and the movie is not about slavery or civil rights or it's not some kind of biopic? I'll wait. I'll sit right here. Any movie you want. The only caveat is the black woman lead has to be having a great time. She has to be being sported and adored. Any movie you want, as long as there's no suffering. I'm still waiting. Even the light bright leads like Sanaa Lathan are always having a bad time. Love and Basketball, Brown Sugar, Disappearing Acts. So imagine how much worse actually unambiguous black women get treated on screen. And off screen too. And then y'all have the nerve to make think pieces about this bullshit? Make a think piece about how black men have been making movies for over 100 years, and you couldn't name me one rom-com made by a black man starring a black woman who actually looks black. And one who's dark-skinned, forget about it. Make a think piece about how the image black men promote of the most ideal thing a black woman can be is not black, not melanated, to share none of the features of the majority of the race. Make a think piece about how much these men hate themselves because they love to augment themselves. Charlemagne has bleached his skin to death, but we don't talk about that. How many of these men have gotten their noses done and their BBLs? Hey there, Drake. They keep their hair cut down to their scalp because they can't stand any sign that they are actually black. Do a piece on that.
Y'all over here crazy as hell if you think DDG career is over because he slapped this bitch, allegedly. Bro, domestic violence is normal in relationships.
Stay away from the demographics. I wasn't even going to post anything today until I saw this. And then I said, it's incumbent to speak out because all the discourse that's happening around Diddy and Cassie, DDG and Halle, and the resurgence that has brought about in the conversations about men like R. Kelly needs to be discussed. When I say stay away from the demographics, it's because this sentiment is widely felt. And if you think that that's not true, explain to me the conversations that have littered this app and Twitter and social media in general for the last week and a half. And I'm here to remind you, this isn't just Pookie and Ray Ray and some broke dude who works at a gas station. There are high-profile men, black celebrity men who have expressed similar sentiments. And even if they don't express it as directly, as violently, the sentiment is the same. Saying that a woman who is in a relationship that's financially advantageous deserves violence, that she doesn't have the right to not consent, that saving black men from the system is more important than black women's bodies, pain, or lives. Based on the numbers, clearly it's a community-wide belief. The majority of the people hold that belief. They normalize this behavior because where are the men holding these abusers accountable? It's a tiny minority. And the funny thing is, I get pushback all the time when I say stay away from the demographics, but the only argument they ever have to offer is, oh, other men can abuse you too. Yeah, I never said that they couldn't. I've always said all XYs are trash, and I say it every video. But the numbers do not lie. Black women are experiencing far more violence than any other group of women. We not only have the highest homicide rate in the country of any group, at the hands of the demographics, by the way. Even in cases where all women experience violence, we experience an outsized amount of it. For example, all women are most likely to die of homicide while they're pregnant. That's just true. Homicide is the leading cause of death for all pregnant women. But black women are 7 to 11 times more likely to die by homicide during pregnancy. So see how the risk all women face is extremely exacerbated in the case of black women at the hands of black men? But that's just the numbers. Part of the reason I say stay away from the demographics is because while other non-black victims have experienced people justifying their abuser, culturally, since the dawn of the 19th century, BM have loved to try and justify violence against black women as their right, and that is abnormal. They think it is part of their due to be able to do whatever they want to us, and they represent you as a cultural defector if you say you don't want to experience this violence, or if you want to hold the abusive men accountable for it. You are called white, or you're called against the black man if you say he doesn't have a right to harm black women and black children. This is abnormal. I'm saying you should not want to be in a community like that. You should not want to touch and agree with people like that. And nobody after this past week and a half is going to have the temerity to say black men aren't making that argument, because they're opening every time you open YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, any podcast at all. They're just trying to bring the black man down. The black man's under attack because we won't let him abuse women, because we won't let him abuse children. He's under attack. Please think about what that means. These men and their hangers-on have made their choices. Clearly, they are going to prioritize abusive men over women and children, and that is their right. They can do whatever they want to over there. I'm saying get out of places like that. Get out of spaces like that. Do not lend them your equity. Do not lend them your voice. And protect your daughters, because a lot of these women are in the position that they're in because they were groomed to think this behavior is normal. Lest we forget, Rihanna's father told her to go back to Chris Brown after Chris Brown bought him a luxury SVU after he laid hands on his daughter. And there's story after story of these young women in Hollywood like this. Most of them have been groomed and abused by their own family first, if not physically, into being the breadwinner. Like Sky Jackson or Keke Palmer. You have been bilked your whole life for your resources. You have always been used, and you think that this is normal. So while I will always hold them accountable for the choices that have endangered their own children, I still do have empathy for them, because they have never been in a healthy relationship, even with their own families. They have never been in a situation where they have been loved disinterestedly for themselves, and it does cause you to make crazy choices and to get involved with toxic people and not see their deficiencies. But if we want to make things better, we have to start by stepping away from toxic spaces, including our own community. I will say it again, this isn't normal. And if somebody's trying to tell you it is the responsibility of a teenage girl to control the behavior of men double her age, that people who are under the threat of physical violence, literally being beaten if they say no, if they refuse to consent, if they tell you or try to convince you that that is consent, ask them, okay, so did the black men who were buck broken, were they consenting? Did they like it? They didn't fight back hard enough because they were enjoying it, huh? Ask them that. Fight me. I do not care, because some of the main people who will dehumanize us and ignore our suffering, glory in it, revel in it, unfortunately share our complexion. Speak to them the same way. That's the only way they can understand a lot of the time. I really agree with whoever said black men are the white people of black people, because they definitely are. Shout out to the white woman who said black men are white men on night mode. 10 out of 10. So just like white racists, they don't have any empathy. So I like to use metaphors so they can understand. When they start with the dress how you want to be addressed, I say, I completely agree. You should stop wearing those hoodies and stop sagging your pants. That fashion originated in jail, you know. So that way the police know that you're not one of the bad ones. They say you can't withdraw consent. I say, you are so right. You consented to that stop and frisk. So anything that happened after that is your responsibility. They choked you out. They beat you. You consented. A new one they invented just for Cassie. They said Cassie chose wrong. I know that chose wrong isn't a new thing, but the way that they're adapting it in this situation, they claim that a young man had been interested in her and should have gone with him instead of the older man, because she should have known, should have read into the future that Diddy was going to be evil and abusive. Cool. Yeah, maybe the police pulled that guy over unfairly and pew-pewed him, but you know what? If he had gone to college, he wouldn't have been in that situation. I mean, if you think about it, how many of those guys were uneducated? Garner, Floyd, Castle, Sterling. According to what black men have said, if only those men had looked into the future and made a different choice in the past, like completely changed their lives back then, they wouldn't have ended up in the situation they ended up in, according to black men. See how there's a comparison for every situation? Now, inevitably, they're going to start hooting and hollering and saying how you can't compare the two. But what's the difference? The difference is they don't have any empathy. They don't see black women suffering as legitimate. And more importantly, they do not see physical suffering inflicted on women as legitimate, because they really are telling you they believe in their minds a man, particularly one who's in a relationship with a woman, has the right to do anything he wants to her. They do not believe cops have the right to do anything that they want to people who are in custody. But guess what? They're the only ones who think that. And that's why, just like they can watch a video of a woman like Keke Palmer or Cassie being beaten on the screen, the evidence is right there, and they can still say, well, we don't know what happened before the tape, and you're just cutting out the part where they instigated, and well, she should have still done whatever. That's the same way the whole country can watch them being unalived on camera and still say, well, maybe he was on drugs and he shouldn't have resisted. And do not be deceived into believing because we share some of the same struggles, a lot of the same history, and some of the same fears that we're living the same life. We are not. These men could give a fuck about your pain. Stay away from them because they can't wait to inflict their pain on you. That's it. Like and follow for more.